Hello, Sana. How are you?
Hi, I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Welcome to Jolly Talk Show, actually.
I like your sign. Very
I made
creative.
it. It's kind of the handcraft which I used.
Got it. No, I like it. I can definitely tell it's handmade, but I really like it.
So, how are you doing, Sana? How is the quarantine going?
It's long. We had a lot of sort of changes and shifts we had to do for work. So my quarantine has actually been quite busy. I think in the beginning, it didn't really even strike me that we were quarantined. Quarantine is fine. In the beginning, it was so busy. I didn't even really realize, honestly. And now that, there a few restrictions are lifted, you're allowed to go for walks and things like that downstairs. It's been a bit better, but it's been raining for the last 3 weeks. So in a way, we're all quarantined again because of the rain. So yeah, just working, eating, living, been fine.
Okay. Sana, there's one thing which I was quite impressed. I actually read about you. You were elected for the Forbes 30 under 30, I guess,
Yeah, 30 under
list.
30. Yeah.
That is something pretty big. Firstly, how did you
Yeah,
feel?
honestly, it felt quite great. Like it's one of the few, I would say, awards that are, done based on merit, because there are a lot of these like random paid awards and stuff that people write and say, oh, do you want to be on this list? Do you want to be on that list? And obviously, I have no interest. So this is, a prestigious list to be a part of. So I was really excited. This was now, I think, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a lot of sort of congratulations studying in from family, friends. It gives you good visibility in terms of investors. So it was a great experience, actually.
Well, that is good because you started the Wedding Brigade and it has actually become a very big name. And that is how I know you basically. Because when it comes to the Wedding Brigade, everybody is talking about it. Like even across the borders, even around the globe, everybody's talking about the Wedding Brigade. So please
That makes
firstly
me
tell
really
us what
happy. Wait,
actually, yeah, it actually is because I will actually tell you the people who are in my friend list and they know about Wedding Brigade, they follow it madly for the dresses, for the arrangements, for the food, for everything.
that's amazing, because funnily enough, like we love Pakistani fashion. We think like the designers do things that are so intricate, so embellished. We feature a lot of Pakistani designers on the Wedding
Yeah,
Brigade's Instagram as well. Yeah.
and that is good. So I actually want to know, actually want you to tell all the people who are actually listening to it, what is actually the Wedding Brigade and how did you come up with this idea? Because you were a banker before this and you were
Yes.
working for advertising at where were you
Saatchi
working
and
for advertising?
Saatchi. Saatchi
Saatchi
and
and
Saatchi. But
Saatchi.
that was while I was in college. So that was like, a summer internship. My full-time
Yeah.
job post-college was banking. So I'll
Okay.
tell you a little bit about how I came up with it and what the Wedding Brigade is. So I actually started my first company in college. It was called 2020, and it was a restaurant discounting company. So that was my first experience with entrepreneurship. I did it with a few friends, loved it,
Yeah.
just loved building a company from scratch. But when I graduated, I was, still wanting to stay in the US, still wanting to work there for a bit. And because of visa reasons, you basically have very limited choices in terms of the types of
Yeah.
companies you can work with. So I ended up in banking, working at Morgan Stanley, but I specifically worked with companies in the technology sector who were either going public or who were issuing like follow-on offerings. And so I ended up working really closely with a lot of CEOs and CFOs and understood their business models. And I always just found myself much more drawn to the business side of things of these tech companies than to the financial side of things. So it became very clear to me, honestly, that I wanted to go back to building companies, but I thought I would
Yeah.
actually go join someone else's. I was looking at opportunities in San Fran. When I came back to India on holiday, and a good friend's sister was getting married in a few months, I was going to miss the wedding. So she was just telling me about it, showing me, all of the outfits, the hotel, the gifts, the favors, and the entire process of planning it was just so disorganized, so stressful. There's zero transparency. Things were scattered between so many different places that it just struck me like, wow, is this really how weddings are planned in India? Like I thought, there should be an easier way to do it. And there were
Yeah.
easier solutions in the US. There were websites that existed that sort of aggregated the very best of the wedding world. But I realized that no such solution existed in India. And so I set off essentially to build a company that would aggregate the very best wedding content, products, so like fashion, jewelry, gifts, favors, and services like makeup, mehndi, photographers, venues in one place so that users could literally uh, travel through their entire wedding journey on one website and just make the entire process of planning a wedding much more fun and much more easy. So that's the Wedding Brigade's goal, to be India's largest wedding brand and to offer the best and curated wedding
Yeah.
content, products, venues, and services on one place. But we didn't start off kind of with all of it in one go. It took time. So, we were bootstrapped when we started, had very few employees. So we started off with just content, then changed our brand name in 2016, launched the official company, and then after that added e-commerce and services. So it was a long road actually to get to where we are today, which is we offer, we have a blog that has great content. We have a huge following on social
Exactly.
media, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook, obviously. We have a really popular e-commerce website. We deliver to, 30 countries across the world with wedding fashion, costume, jewelry, gifts, and favors. And then we have a services booking portal, which is based in a few large cities in India where you can book services and venues for your wedding. So, yeah, that's where we are now, but it definitely took us some time to get here.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask that. Do you plan to expand your business in Pakistan
I would
someday?
love to. So we do definitely get blog traffic to Pakistan. I think because of, obviously the general tensions with the border, we
Yeah,
aren't able to deliver to Pakistan. But to me, that would be like a
exactly.
next obvious step. I'd love to deliver ethnic wear and jewelry and stuff to Pakistan. It's a great market, similar to Bangladesh or Nepal as well, right?
Exactly,
And we
exactly. Because
have
we've got the same kind of a same culture, we've got the same people, the same taste. It's beautiful.
Exactly. And the thing is, we do deliver to other NRIs, right? I mean, to NRIs and to people who are South Asian. So we deliver to
Yeah,
Pakistanis that live in
Dubai.
the UK and Dubai and Australia and Indians that live in those countries and the US and Canada. So it's just that obviously because of logistical reasons between the countries, it's hard to deliver to Pakistanis
Yeah,
residing in Pakistan. But I'd love to. It's like a very, it's clearly like a market that would do well and would work for us as well.
exactly. It would really do well. So, Sana, I just wanted to ask you that is it difficult for you to source these people, the designers, the vendors, the caterers? How do you manage that? How do you deal with that stress? Because that's quite a multitasking kind of approach which you have utilized.
So, in the beginning, I would say obviously it took time when you're a fledgling brand, no one knows who you are to convince people to come and work with you. And you're figuring out, a lot of like basic things like what do your invoices have to look like and how is your delivery flow going to work and what is the cost of, different volumes and things like that. But once you're a more established brand, actually, a lot of people approach you as well. And so there is a certain amount of, searching that we do of our own accord, but there are a lot of people who come to us and we actually decide if we think they're a good fit or not. Are they affordable? Are they bringing something different to the table? Are they good quality? And so now it's a little bit easier. And we basically have like long-term deals with them, right? So it's once we sign on with them, when they have new collections, they release them with us. With makeup artists, once we sign a contract with them, then, they're working with us. So the more you do it, the more kind of you're adding to your bank or your arsenal, so to speak.
Okay. And Sana, next question for you is, what is the most important thing that you think a person should have to start a business? It can be a trade, it can be something tangible, but what do you think is the thing that a person should have to start a business?
I think the number one thing by far is grit. So grit is like, having that perseverance, having that like dogged determination that like no matter what, I'm going to do this. Because starting a business, I think especially in, developing countries like India or Pakistan is really hard. There are a lot of hurdles you need to jump through in terms of bureaucracy, in terms of staffing, in terms of things like floods that stop you from going to office. I mean, it's really, really tough to run a business in a company like this. And so you need to be a really gritty person. You can't be kind of like off put by obstacles. You can't get discouraged too easily. You need to have thick skin. And if you're the type of person that, regardless of the obstacle, will get up, keep trying, I think there's a really, really good chance at the end that, you know, you're going to succeed.
Right. And moreover, if a person feels like investing his money in some kind of venture, which business venture is the safest bet, according to you?
I mean, the safest bet obviously would be like, you know, blue chip public companies or investing in, you know, like fixed deposits and things like that. That is definitely the safest investment. But obviously, you know, the returns then obviously aren't going to be as big as taking a riskier bet. I'd say if someone
Yeah.
is looking specifically to invest in a private company and is looking for a safe investment, look for a company that's profitable, look for a company that deals in a product that is like a necessary product, right? Like something that people are always going to need, whether that's an FMCG, whether that's with medicine or pharma, etc.
Oh,
Those are all like safe bets because regardless of what's happening around us, we do need these things. But obviously, when you're investing in these safe companies, there are companies that may be a little bit more risky, but the returns could also be more outsized. So that is, you know, a call that people have to take based on their own financial position and their risk appetite.
so now that we're talking about business, I actually want to ask you that the situation that we are going through right now, the whole world is going through that situation. So, what should the businesses be doing right now in this situation? Because they are in lockdown, and most of the businesses are actually suffering a hard blow. So, I actually want to know I actually want your opinion that what should the businesses be doing right now?
So I think the first thing obviously to determine is your business, you know, benefiting or suffering, because there are some businesses that have benefited from
Yeah.
COVID. And if that is the case, obviously this is a great time to expand,
Sanitizer
right?
and face masks.
Yeah, but even, you know, food, Zoom, delivery
Yeah.
businesses, pharmacies,
Oh,
groceries,
I
you know,
forgot about Zoom. We are talking over to Zoom and I forgot about it.
yeah, there are definitely sectors that have benefited, and I think in
Yeah.
that case, this is actually a great time to expand because there's so much labor available, right? There've been so many job cuts. Advertising is cheaper, so I actually think that if you are one of those companies, this is a great time to invest and expand. If, like most companies, you have been negatively affected either because demand has dropped or because, you know, obviously physically going to places is now restricted or no longer allowed, I think the most important thing to do is, one, to cut costs, right? Cut costs immediately. Anything that you can do without, anything you don't need, cut them now, because those are savings that are going to happen for every single month going forward. So in fact, I think most businesses have already done this, but that would be my first piece of advice, that
Yeah.
cut costs, because we don't know how long this is going to last. You know, I think if you asked a lot of people in March, they would have thought that by July life would have gotten back to
By July
normal,
it
but
will
it
be gone.
hasn't. Exactly. So you really, really need to kind of plan for the worst, so to speak, financially, I think. And the second thing to do is to identify opportunities by which you can use your existing talents and resources to suit the new market. Okay, so maybe in our case, for example, maybe large weddings are not going to happen this year, but smaller celebrations are still going to happen, right?
Yeah. They are
People are still
happening.
going to get engaged at home. People are still going to celebrate festivals. People are still going to
Yes.
celebrate birthdays. So there's so many different celebrations that will still happen. Smaller weddings in tier 2 and tier 3 cities where the pandemic isn't as widespread, where there haven't been as many cases, those are still going to happen. So how do we use the resources we already have to suit these new needs that are coming up, right? So that's the second thing I think every business needs to figure out based on the resources and the skill sets that they have.
Okay. And Sana, do you plan to expand the wedding brigade more, or do you actually plan to step into another business venture? Like, what is your plan now? That's what I want to know.
Oh,
I just want to
I'm
get an insight.
definitely 100% focused on the wedding brigade. I think, you know, as I was talking about right now, we're looking at how to stay relevant in terms of the smaller functions. And our
Yeah.
e-commerce business has done really well. You know, that's something that has been growing. We're getting a lot of orders. A lot of people are still buying ethnic wear for either smaller weddings that are happening or festivals that are occurring. And so that's also a big focus. And to obviously continue to kind of produce and aggregate really high quality content for
Hmm.
inspiration for weddings and festivals. So we're very much focused here. There's still so much to be done, honestly, in India, that I think we'll be focused here definitely for the next few years.
Okay, because there are lots of entrepreneurs like who just step into different ventures. to experiment more? That's why I was asking this question.
I actually think focus is like very underrated, right? Especially, this isn't a small market. I'm not trying to sell, plant holders that are 8,000 rupees to like, really wealthy people. Like weddings are a huge market, and we are looking at sort of
It's
the
a huge
mass
market and it's a huge
part of the
responsibility,
market.
actually.
Yeah, we've just about scratched the surface. So I'm definitely just focusing on weddings going forward for the next few years. And even then, like it's a $50 billion market in India. So there's a lot of room to grow. There's a lot more that we can do
There's a
before we
lot
have to
of
look
room.
anywhere else. Yeah.
You have almost covered whole of the India, I guess, and you are doing pretty well. You're doing pretty good, mashallah. So
Oh, thank you.
last question in serious category
Uh-huh.
is that, which is a question of my, show. What
Okay.
is, because everybody goes through struggles, everybody goes through dark times. So I actually want to ask you that what is that thing that keeps you bright in the darkest of times?
Uh, I think I definitely lean on my family a lot. So, like parents, my husband, my sisters, that I went to them. I can tell them everything straight. I don't have to put on a brave face or brave front for them. So, I think they're definitely a huge, huge support when I am feeling a bit down or struggling. And I'm also quite into spirituality. So, I do a lot of like self healing and meditation, and that also keeps me grounded to a certain extent.
Oh, yes. I actually wanted to talk about meditation too. Like, let me see if I've written that in the fun questions yet. Because if I have, then I won't be asking you that. But actually, okay,
Okay.
it's there, but still I want to ask you. Like, how do you deal with the meditation? Like, how? Because when I try to meditate, there are lots of voices in my head and they just don't go. And I cannot focus on one thing. They keep coming in my head and I cannot focus. Like, how do you do that?
So I think first of all, there are different ways in which to practice meditation, right? There's no one right way, but what a lot of people say is that you don't have to silence the voices in your head, right? You can acknowledge the voices. You can let the voice come, say what it needs to say, and go. It's okay for thoughts to flow in and out of your head. But one technique I use, which is called the Ziva technique, you actually have like one word that you kind of focus on throughout the meditation, and it's different words for different people, and so that kind of does keep you a little bit focused on the process. And they still, you will have thoughts that come into your head, and you're not supposed to like judge yourself or get mad at yourself. That's part of the process of, I think, like dealing with these thoughts or memories or feelings and letting them go. So you let them come, and when you realize that okay, you've gotten carried away in a thought, you bring yourself back to that word that you were meditating on. So that's one technique. But even if you just focus on your breath and have memories or thoughts that come and just bring yourself back to your breath, that's also the right way to meditate. In fact, even the best practitioners say that no, they don't have thoughtless meditations, so it's totally normal.
Okay. Okay, it actually motivates me to meditate now. Thank you so much for that.
I mean, maybe
Okay,
not now,
now we'll
maybe
be
wait
moving.
until after the interview.
Okay. So, Sana, thank you so much for being on this show because all of the answers that you gave, like even in the rapid fire and in the normal questions, they were pretty well and they were beautiful because you summarized everything related to economics, related to your life and your business pretty well. So I think that was great. And it was so nice to have you on this show.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. And I'll definitely be in touch with you on the through Instagram so that I can actually follow you like thoroughly. And you are an inspiration, honestly. So keep sending the positive thoughts. Yeah, just one thing which I want you to say to the young generation who are going to pursue business. What is your advice to them?
So I mean, one was obviously in terms of make sure that if you are pursuing business, you have a gritty personality and you can stick through it. But I think another sort of advice, if someone is starting a business, would be to dedicate some time every day to focus on the bigger picture. When you start a business, a lot of like small things can go wrong every day. Like I call them little fires. So you end up spending the entire day getting rid of tiny, tiny problems that by other people, and you lose sight of
Yeah.
what is the bigger problem I'm working on, what is the bigger goal I'm working towards. So it would be to make sure that you spend some time every day on the bigger picture.
Thank you so much, Sana. This was beautiful. So hope to see you some other day with might be some other achievement or some other feather
All
in your
right.
hat. So till
Sounds
then,
good.
thank you so much and bye.
Thank you. Bye.